All right guys, this is the part that I really dislike, and it's maintenance parts instead of go fast parts. Today we are putting all 4 shocks on Bertha. Now if you guys don't know, Bertha is my 2007 F-250 Super Duty. She's a gasser, but she's a manual transmission, so the towing capacity on it's still 12,000 pounds. So we are gonna get in here, we're gonna get the front shocks put on. It's a pretty straightforward process. She is a Midwest truck, unfortunately, so she does have some rust, but looking at getting the shocks off. Just right there on the arm, get that off. It's a post. And then right here, there's a wrench spot where you hold that and then zip the top nut off and get that shock out of there. And then installation is pretty much the opposite of removal anyway. And then I've got to tighten the wheel bearings just a little bit. They've got a little bit of play. And then once I get back from this trip, this caliper right here gets a little sticky. As you can see that it's blued the rotor, but sometimes it just sticks when I don't drive it very often, and honestly I don't drive it very often. So we're gonna try to bleed the brakes and get that nasty brake fluid out of there, that boiled brake fluid, get some fresh brake fluid put in it, and then it's on to the rear shocks. So let's get after it. And some of you guys know the story about Bertha. I picked her up at an auction right just after pandemic for 3,500 bucks. I ended up driving the Suburban that I had. To go pick her up sight unseen. I was gonna drive it back anyway. It's just kind of how I roll. It's kind of like one of those things, you make it, you don't, you figure it out. But she ran so good that I ended up picking up a flatbed trailer, putting the Suburban on the trailer and hauling the Suburban home. And then right immediately after that, I dropped off the Suburban. I was home for a week, and on the way home, and we went through St. Louis, I ended up picking up a full XLT cloth interior because it had the ugly bench seats in it. This is just an XL, nothing fancy. I found the XLT interior for $1,000 in St. Louis. We stopped, picked up the interior, crammed it all in the back of the Suburban, and then got it home. I was home for a week, but in that week, I pulled out all the bench seats. I put the XLT interior in it. And while I was home, there was a gentleman that had XLT takeoffs, these rims right here. So these are XLT, they're 18s, the XLT 18s. They had fresh Michelins on them, and I slapped those on. Immediately drove the truck to Florida to pick up my race trailer. From there, drove the truck all the way up to New York to pick up a Ferrari, and then all the way back home. This truck doesn't miss a beat. She does need quite a bit of maintenance right now, so we're gonna start with the shocks. I'm just gonna get spark plugs, which you know this is a 5.4 Triton. We all know the spark plug issues, so we're gonna put all new spark plugs in it, a full exhaust system, including exhaust manifolds all the way back. Hopefully that solves the issue, because I think the catalytic converters are clogged, so when you're pulling a load, it doesn't accelerate very well. There might be a number of issues going on there, but she pulls like a dream. You just gotta stop every 2 hours, but when your butt starts getting sore, when you gotta take a leak, is a good time to stop. And once she cools down, she pulls like a freight train again. So if any of you guys know exactly what that issue is, please comment in this video and help me out. I'm not very well versed in these bigger Ford trucks, the older ones. She's not needed much maintenance, but we're gonna give her some maintenance today, so let's get after it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys why we are doing the shocks. Bushings are completely gone. So she's making a really loud. All right, that went better than expected for being a Midwest truck, to be honest with you. She's got plenty of rust on her. Here we go. All right, so we're gonna leave that there. Now we gotta get after the top. We're gonna need a couple long extensions. Okay, let's get after it with a wrench. So we are going after that guy right there. And you can kind of see the shadow, the top of the shock is right there. We might be able to get to it right here, and they have like a really convenient where you can put a wrench on it so you don't have to worry about spinning the shock all the way around, which is pretty cool. So let's get sorted out with the wrenches, and I'll bring you guys back. All right, we found the combination here, I think. The top nut is a 15. It's gonna take a while, but it already broke free pretty nice, and I'm just gonna spin the bottom, and hopefully she's loosening. Oop. Which it feels like it is, so that's kind of convenient since this shock is not in a good place. This is gonna take a while. We'll bring you back when we get the shock out. Don't do that. Don't do that. So we were able to take the impact with a swivel, a 15 millimeter. We were able to fish it in between the evap box, and I'll show you guys. We had to fish it right down through the evap box to the top of the shock top, but it worked. We didn't have to do it all by hand, which is good. So that shock's out. Let's get the new shock put in. Let's go. All right, and just like that, we were able to put that shock right into place. I'm not gonna replace the top shock bushing because it's a through frame and it's in great shape. It's not deteriorating or dry rotting or anything like that. And then we were able to push it right up onto the stud. So now we're just gonna torque everything to spec right now. All right guys, and just like that, this side is completely done. Torqued on the top, torqued down here. So now we're moving to the other side. All right, so same process over here. I was able to get the extension and whatnot on over there, so no big deal. So we need to get this busted free, take that top, and this has a little cap on the top that we need to get off. So this little cap was protecting the threads on the top. So we're gonna buzz this off, get this out of here, and we'll come back with the new shock. All right guys, and literally just like that, would that take what, 3-4 minutes? 4 minutes, 5 minutes at most on this side. It's an 18mm nut down here on the bottom. This was a couple different sizes. It was a 15 and an 18 on the old shock. On the new shock, it was a 16mm nut on the top and then a 16 on the wrench. Right, so I'm under the rear of the truck. We're gonna try to get these rear shocks done. We were trying to take the wheels off. They won't come off. It's a steel on aluminum rims, and I think galvanic corrosion is making it a bitch. So I'm gonna flip you around and show you what it's gonna take to get these rear shocks done. The front shocks only took us 20 minutes. These rear shocks are gonna take us about the same time. We're doing this whole shock change in under an hour. So let me flip you around real quick. All right, lower shock mount is a 15 on the head and an 18 on the nut side. On the top of the shock up there is right there, is an 18mm nut head size. So that's a stud up there, and the bottom here is just a through bolt. So I'm gonna get this through bolt off and pop the shock out and get the new one in. Super easy. Just like that, in under an hour, we had all 4 shocks replaced on Bertha. Again, super simple job. It can save you some money if you've got a jack stands, 18mm socket, 16mm wrench, 15mm wrench, and a few other small hand tools. It's super, super simple, and you can save yourself about $500 or $600. So, I mean, I think book time is an hour or 2 for the front, hour or 2 for the rear. It took us less than an hour to do all 4. I think it's, I don't know, 99 to whatever year. I don't know. I'll put it in the title of the video on the years that whole process encompasses. So, save yourself some money, guys. If you have any questions, just comment down below. And if you don't mind, please like, share, and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. We're trying to get this channel monetized to bring you more content like this, more content like the race cars. We've got Porsches, Lamborghinis, lifted Miatas, all kinds of other stuff in here. That's the kind of cool stuff that we do. We also do camper van builds and boat builds and all kinds of fun stuff. So if you could, please like, subscribe, you know, the whole deal. It greatly helps us out, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. See ya.